Seeing how Shohei Ohtani is currently one of the game's best and most exciting young players, let's take a look at where he probably should have ended up when the choice was his, and talk about why he didn't end up there. Now, for those of you unaware on how international signing works, every international player pretty much has their choice of wherever they want to go. It's completely up to them. They don't get drafted, so they can go wherever they want to go. So, back in the winter of 2017, just about every Major League Baseball club tried their best to win over a 23-year-old Japanese two-way star by the name of Shohei Ohtani. None more so than the San Diego Padres, who certainly put all their chips on the table while going for the young star. And leading up to his decision to sign with the Angels, all signs pointed to Ohtani signing in San Diego. To start off, Ohtani had narrowed his search down to just 7 West Coast teams, these being the Dodgers, Angels, Padres, Mariners, Giants, Rangers, and Cubs. But the Padres had been laying the groundwork to sign him long before the winter of 2017. It started all the way back in 2008 when the Padres started a working agreement with Ohtani's Japanese ball club, the Nippon Ham Fighters. This meant that when the Fighters played in the States, their players would use the Padres facilities, and in fact, other Nippon Ham Fighters and Ohtani used the Padres Peoria training facilities while in the US in the years prior to Ohtani coming over in 2017. Another factor pointing towards the Padres was their many strong connections with the Japanese-born players. First, we had GM AJ Preller being one of the key factors to Japanese star Yu Darvish signing in Texas back in 2012 when Preller was the assistant GM. Also, AJ attempted to sign Ohtani fresh out of high school at the age of 18 while in Texas. And then you can look at Padres Director of Pro Scouting Logan White, who played significant roles in the signings of Takashi Saito and Hiroki Kuroda while he was with the Dodgers. Both of them are well-known Japanese stars. Also, the Padres had many former Japanese-born connections working for them, like Sakahiro Nakakachi. I most likely said that name wrong, but he was a former athletic trainer for the Fighters, and he was then the director of applied sports science for the Padres. The Padres also had Hideo Nomo, Takashi Saito, Akinori Otsuka all working for them in different levels of the organization. Not to mention, Ohtani's agent was a San Diego-born native. So with all signs pointing towards the Padres, why did Ohtani choose the Angels? Well, according to Ohtani's agent, the connection to Angels GM Billy Epler was just too strong, and the presentations for Ohtani during his visits were top-notch. Which are some really weak reasons, if you ask me, but whatever. Epler supposedly had been in constant contact with Ohtani since he left high school, just knowing he would choose to come over to the States someday. But I think we can all agree the biggest factor was their ability to DH with the Angels. Obviously, Ohtani wanted the opportunity to pitch and hit, knowing he could do both at the highest level, and he also wanted to be as far west as possible. So, knowing these things, the only logical options were the Mariners, A's, and Angels. And then looking at those 3 teams, you have to think about how bad the A's stadium situation is, so no player is going to move across the whole world to play in that crappy stadium. Then, it's between the Mariners and Angels, and who wouldn't choose the California weather? I believe the Angels were his only option, considering that he wanted to DH and he wanted to play on the West Coast. The Padres did give a good effort to show Ohtani that they were open to the idea of a two-way player. They gave Christian Bethancourt that opportunity back in about 2017, 2016. Though it didn't work out for them, it showed that they were open to the idea. So I guess you can blame Commissioner Rob Manfred for being the reason Ohtani isn't hitting back-to-back homers on a nightly basis with Fernando Tatis Jr. Because Manfred seems to be the only person on this planet that still wants to see pitchers hit. I mean, can you imagine what Ohtani would look like in the middle of this stacked lineup and on the mound for the Padres every 6th day, maybe to give him some extra rest? Now we're left with a dream of what could have been. Oh well.